Caroline County School Board meeting to order, please. We'll have the invocation by Reverend Kevin James.
Good evening. Thank you for the invite. It's been a while since I've been invited here for this, so it's great to see you. Hope you had a great day one. Off to a good start. For those of you that would like to join me as we pray, I invite you to join me. Father God, we thank you for the privilege it is to build into students' lives. I'm grateful for the educators who spent years getting ready and those who are just getting started in building into the lives of children, and Father, for those who have been at it for a long time and continue just to love kids and love helping them become the best that they can be. So Father, I just pray your blessings on this meeting, on this new school year, as we get off to a great start. And Father, I thank you for this board who give up their time to help the system, the education of our kids be a priority in our community. So Father, thank you for this time, and we give it to you. Pray in your Son's name. Amen.
Thank you, Kevin. We'll have the pledge of allegiance now. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Next, we have the approval of the August 13, 2018 agenda.
Mr. Chairman, I move for approval of the August 13, 2018 agenda.
Second.
Been moved and second. Call for the vote. Next, we have Pathways 2022 Spotlight, Dr. Monroe.
Chairman Spalding, Vice Chair Dr. Rollins Fells, members of the board, and Dr. Holman. Caroline County Public Schools are excited and proud to announce the 5 school resource officers who will serve each school of our division. Special recognition goes to Sheriff Lipper, his team, and the Caroline County Board of Supervisors for their collaboration with school leadership to ensure health and safety in our schools. The placement of 5 SROs is aligned with Goal 3, Objective 3.1 of our strategic plan, Crisis Prevention and Preparedness. And tonight, you will receive a brief overview of the purpose and goals of the MOU, roles of the SRO, and be introduced to Caroline's finest. Next slide, please. The Memorandum of Understanding, or the MOU, serves to document the partnership between the Caroline County School Board and the Caroline County Sheriff's Office for the implementation of the School Resource Officer, or SRO program. The Sheriff's Office and School Board are committed to this collaborative effort in order to promote a safe school community. The major change to the MOU is the increase from 2 to 5 SROs, which will place a full-time SRO in each of the 3 elementary schools this year. As you see here, Ms. Haley at Madison Elementary School is with our SROs and Sheriff Lipa as they are saddled up for success, which is Madison's theme for the 2018-19 school year. Next slide, please. Oh, no, that's fine, thank you. In addition, this MOU clarifies the roles of the SRO and school administrators, their scope of authority, as well as the responsibility of the school board and the sheriff's office. as the success of the SRO program will depend on the effective communication among the SRO, the school administrators, the sheriff's office, and the school board. This MOU also clarifies the procedures pertaining to the sharing and exchange of information. In Caroline, we always say teamwork makes the dream work. So the SRO focus is to, one, work closely with the principal and staff of the school to foster a better understanding of the law enforcement function to maintain a secure learning environment. And two, proactively work with the school's leadership team and collaborate with school's administrative team on safety protocols and procedures. For example, the collaboration you see in the picture shows the Sheriff's Department collaborating with the school's crisis teams, formulating the plan to ensure safety, minimal disruption to the learning environment, and a unified response to the student walkout that was proposed last year. Other joint efforts include conducting intruder drills to ensure the school division and community stakeholders have an efficient communication system and procedures to respond effectively and in a timely manner through all crisis situations. The role of the SRO at the elementary level is to connect and correct, not catch and punish. And then with that role being said, three major functions of the SRO on the elementary level are to control district property, to provide in-service training, and to provide classroom presentations on crime prevention and good citizenship. As we turn to the secondary level, the role of the SRO on the secondary level is really to serve and protect while building positive relationships. At CMS and at CHS, the major functions of our SROs will be to serve as a visible and active law enforcement officer on campus, take law enforcement actions to protect against unwarranted intruders, and make arrests only when necessary to protect students, staff, and school property. The SROs are also vital in coordinating security for crowd and vehicle control at extracurricular activities and special events, monitoring and instructing students, visitors, and district personnel on proper and lawful campus and/or facility behavior. Now at this time, it's a plumb, pleasing pleasure to recognize Caroline's finest. Officers, when I call your name, please come to the front of the stage to be recognized. First of all, we would like to recognize Captain Lambert, Lieutenant Nutter, and Sheriff Lippa for organizing the important initiative to increase the level of safety, security, and support in our schools. None of this would have been possible without their support as well as the financial backing of our Board of Supervisors. So could the three of them please come forward, and can we give them a round of applause? Sheriff Lippa, hold on one second, sir. Also, we would like to recognize the officers or SROs that will be serving in our school. At Caroline High School, we have Master Deputy Ben Doucette. Please come forward. At Caroline Middle School, we have Deputy Richie Anderson.
Family emergency.
Family emergency, he is not here.
Maybe Scott Moulton needs to be up here with us. Yes.
Yes, and Major Scott Burns, excuse me, sir.
That's what the blanket was.
Can we give Mr. Moses a big round of applause? Thank you. At Bowling Green Elementary School, we have Deputy Sean Jett. At Lewis and Clark Elementary School, we have Deputy Mark O'Connor. And at Madison Elementary School, we have Sergeant Chris Hall. Once again, we are very excited. We're honored to have you all work with us this year and being in all of our schools. Thank you so much. Dr. Harmon, would you like to come down, sir, and join them? Can we just take one more picture and have Dr. Harmon, please? Well, tall guys.
Here, come on up here. I do have one question. Where did you get that old bag? Coach All right, I'll say something.
I can get it between.
I just left the towel.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Moving right along, we have the awards, recognition, commendations, BPSS grant team recognition, Pat Taylor Smith.
Chairman Spalding, Vice Chair, Ms. Rollins Fells, members of the board, Dr. Hillman. Caroline County Public Schools application. The cohort 5 of the Virginia Tiered System of Supports, or VTSS, has been accepted. VTSS is a coordinated, tiered approach to improving educational outcomes through a continuum of evidence-based academic, behavioral, and mental wellness supports for all students. Through this initiative, the Virginia Department of Education will provide training and technical assistance in the implementation of VTSS. Additionally, our school division has been awarded $20,000 under a state grant program to further support our VTSS efforts. It is recommended that the school board and administration recognize the VTSS grant team on their hard work and collaborative efforts in the submission of the application to cohort 5. Team members included Principal Karen Foster, Assistant Principals Corinne Griggs, Rochelle Bourgeois, and Jessica Musseri, and yours truly, Dr. Pat Taylor Smith. Letters of support were written by Dr. Parker, Dr. Calverick, Dr. Monroe, Mrs. Dolly G. Lindsay, and Ms. Laura Glass. I'd like to have the grant team come down front so that you might see them and congratulate them. Those who offer letters of support, please join us for the photo.
Thank you, ladies. Next, we have the recognition of custodians and maintenance staff for back-to-school readiness. Mr. Holden?
Good evening, Chairman Spalding, Dr. Rollins Fells, members of the board, Dr. Hellman. This year, it's been no different than any other year. Every year since I've been here, there's been some sort of a challenge. You thought this finally would have been the year we'd caught a break. But anyway, every year is different. The custodians, as usual, spent many hours cleaning the walls, the furniture, as well as the floors, applying thousands of gallons of floor finish, sometimes as much as 5 coats in some areas, entranceways, hallways, such as that. All the classroom furniture is moved out of the rooms, floors are done, the furniture is cleaned and put back. Maintenance is done to the furniture as we find needs that it requires. This year, the challenge was probably the fact that we were pretty much 14 members short most of the summer, so we had to mix and match teams to cover. Like at Lewis and Clark, we brought people from other schools. The middle school, you would have thought this would have been their year to catch up since they didn't have to host middle school, summer school. That was the high school's challenge. But here we had, again, we were a couple team members short, so we were able to, as schools finished up stuff, we were able to move people around to get enough manpower to get it all done. I think basically between the grounds and the custodial work, I think they all deserve pretty much, we established a three-tiered level a couple of years ago, but I think they all kind of got to the gold level this year, so I'll thank them for their, their hard work.
Thank you, Mr. Holden. The schools I were in, was 3 of them. The floors were beautiful, really nice. And I want to talk to you about something else later on. So, okay? All right, let's move right along. National Beta Convention recognition, Dr. Monroe.
Chairman Spalding, Vice Chair Dr. Rollins Fellows, members of the school board, and Dr. Helm, we are pleased to recognize the following individuals that attended the National Beta Convention in Savannah, Georgia. We did ask that our students stay home this evening to get their first night of homework done. As we all know, today was the first day of school, but I will be reading the students' names regardless of them being home tonight with their families. First of all, on the secondary level, our service snapshot team won 10th place, and the students that represented the snapshot team were Caitlin Southworth, Caitlin Crutchfield, Allie Bishop, Micaiah Courtney, and Jordan Rollins Fells. So can we give those ladies a big round of applause? 10th place in the nation. Also on the on-site art, individual won 6th place, and her name is Yami Naves. So can we give Yami a round of applause as well? Also attending the convention was Madison Bowen, Isabella Perez, Madison Gillespie, who actually graduated, Emily Gillespie, Amber Blackett, Kaya Crutchfield. These students competed brilliantly and represented Caroline County with pride and enthusiasm. So we also want to give those students a round of applause. On the elementary level, Bowling Green had students, and their names are Graceland Edwards, Jaden Richardson, Courtney Watts, May Davis, McManus, Evelyn Payne, Liam Collins, Sydney Davis, Cassidy Day, Alexis Ruel, Jordan Summers, and Travis Ernest. And all of these students won an award for Spotlight Your Club. So can you give them a round of applause? For Lewis and Clark and Madison Elementary School, we had Kagan Taylor, Charlie Clark, Caitlin Clark, Molly Flaherty, Olivia Lett, and Riley Nett. From Madison, we had Cassidy Kiger, Jada Bolden, Nia Howard, Yana Ferguson, Ian Donaldson, Paige Comfort, and Kennedy Johnson, who were recognized nationally. So can we give them a round of applause? Thank you. And last but not least, but the folks that really undergird the efforts of Beta, Ms. Kelly and Ms. Klein, who work with our high school students, were also recognized for outstanding leadership. Ms. Kelly and Ms. Klein did not apply for this recognition, but the National Board chooses sponsors that they recognize each event that make an outstanding impact, not only on the students they serve, but shine bright as model Beta sponsors. So can we give these ladies a big round of applause? And also, we would like to recognize Mrs. Fagans, Mrs. Landor, and Mrs. Regal, who are here tonight, because the gift of time that they spend with our junior Betas is just amazing. And at this time, I would like all of our sponsors to come forward to the mic, and can we give them all a big round of applause? And I think the ladies may just want to share a word or two of thanks for making the dream a reality. Come on.
Back before the board again. Chairperson Spalding, Vice Chair Rollins Fells, rest of the board, and Dr. Hellman. Thank you for having us come out tonight, even though it was the first day of school and I was on my way over here thinking, ooh, I'm tired. It's good to be here, and it's good to share what you guys have helped our babies to do. And I thank each and every one of you for supporting them. We appreciate your support of just being behind them and having the kids know that you're there and that you're supporting them and that you're cheering them on means the world to them. We also, of course, appreciate the financial backing that you guys do, and also the Carolina Education Foundation, and we'll be thanking the Board of Supervisors as well. It's good to work with these kids. They're a great group of kids, and I enjoy every minute, and it's a lot of minutes, that I put in with them. But they give me so much more than I put in with them, and I wouldn't change it for the world. So thank you for allowing me to work with them and making it possible.
Chairman, Vice Chairman, ladies and gentlemen of the board, Dr. Hellman, thank you so much. We had quite an adventure this year, so there's so many people that I'd like to thank. You all for your unstinting faith in the kids, your support, not just financial, but emotional. The Carolina Education Foundation really helped us get to where we needed to be. And like Ms. Fagans, we'll be going together to talk to the county board to thank them also. I'd like to thank not just my partner in crime, Kimberly, who keeps me sane, and I go, where did we leave that child? And she knows. But also Chuck and Ellen Womble from Salem Church. They have become family. They were amazing with the children and invaluable in the help that they gave us. Really became part of our family pretty quickly. Aaron and Kevin Southworth, yeah, she is a paramedic, and he is a retired EMT. And Dr. Calveric and Ray Hancock for being a phone call away when we ended up in the emergency room with a very sick kiddo this time. So we couldn't have done it without any of these folks. So thank you so much for helping us get to where we need to be with the kids and just giving them a chance to get out and let everybody see. I mean, we had the national speaker at Leadership took pictures of our kids with him and posted them all over his page, TED Speaks, and he was again at nationals, and he was like, hey guys, he knew exactly who our kids were, you know, looked for them in the crowd, wanted to see who was there and who would stay home. You know, the national board, you know, we had a kid that was reluctant at Leadership. At national, she sought that child out. They know where our kids are, and they love to spend time with them. So thank you for making it possible for us to get them there.
Just one final note, not to toot our own horns, but we brought back 7 national awards for Caroline County.
Thank you, ladies. Next, we have citizens' comments.
Chair Spalding, there are no citizens' comments at this time.
Citizens' comments? None?
None.
We'll move right along.
Next, we have
Consent agenda. Approval of the regular school board meeting minutes on July 9th, 2018. Can I put all these together rather than have them separate, or does that make a difference? Pardon? Okay. Let me finish, please. Approval of special call business meeting minutes on July the 18th, 2018. Approval of special call board meeting minutes July the 26th, 18. Approval. Well, that's all. Wait a minute. Approval of signature page to Virginia Department of Education. Is that part of the consent agenda? Okay. It has Ms. Hauser's name. Approval of monthly bills, financial reports, Ms. Stevens, and approval approval of donations received. Ms. Stevens, Ms. Stevens. Bananas. Okay, and finally, approval of homeschool request. Dr. Monroe, do I hear a motion?
So moved.
Any questions? Call for the vote. Moving right along to, excuse me, action items, approval of the PSBA delegate and alternate delegate selection. Who wants it?
I'll take it.
All right. Anyone else?
I will take assistant delegate.
Very good. That wasn't hard. All in favor of Mr. Kelly as the delegate and Ms. Carson as the alternate? Okay. Call for the vote. Okay. Next we have new business. No move, or action, I'm sorry. It's one of those nights, folks. Action items. Approval of revisions to the MOU with Sheriff's Office, Dr. Monroe.
Chairman Spalding, Vice Chair Dr. Rollins, fellows members of the board, you all received a copy of the revised MOU. Some of the items that I shared earlier in the presentation this evening were revisions that were made in the MOU. The major revision was we moved from 2 SROs to 5 SROs was the major revision. And again, you all have a copy. So at this time, if there are any questions, I'm open to answering questions.
I'd like to make a motion that we accept the new MOU with the Sheriff Department.
Second.
Any questions? If not, call for the vote. Okay, moving right along.
Thank you.
New business, we have none. On to the informational items. First one is 2018 back to school video. Ms. Holt.
Chairman Spalding, Dr. Rollins Fells, members of the board, and Dr. Hellman. I want to thank Lisa because having the first day of school and coming up with a video for you tonight was a little difficult, so we were all snapping pictures all over the schools and sending them to Lisa so that she could throw them into a video real quick for you guys tonight. So thank you, Lisa, for coming up with this. So we have a back-to-school video for your viewing pleasure tonight, and I believe it'll show up on the screen behind you.
Thank you, Ms. Holt. Very good.
Lisa is the creator of that. Thank you, Lisa.
Next, we have the monthly update on revenues and expenditures. Ms. Stevens.
Good evening, Chairman Spalding, Vice Chair Rollins Fells, the rest of the board, Dr. Hellman. Tonight I'm going to be presenting an update at FY18. Most of our activity this past month is 18, bringing in the additional revenues, closing out the expenditures. I will do a July and August FY19 at the next board meeting, combine those together. So what we have now, I still have 1 month of accrued sales tax still coming in the door. In addition, the deadline that I instituted for our federal revenues was August 10th, so those reimbursements were to be completed, so we should be getting those revenues in the next couple weeks to be able to close out. Mr. Finney and I are still working on reconciling some numbers of the accounts with Anthem and reversion funds, but we continue to work on that and on the CIP. So with that, our operating revenues at this time is $40,972,407. Our operating expenditures is $41,395,518. I still have revenues coming in, so I just want to let you know the expenditures are above the revenues at this time, but I do anticipate the rest of the revenues to come in to cover those expenditures. As you'll see in your bill report that was approved in the consent items tonight, your FY18 bill list is getting much smaller. So we anticipate those bills to go ahead and trickle off. For the total, including the special funds, total revenues is $44,681 and expenditures are $45,004, and we will continue to work on those federal revenues to come in. Does anyone have any questions?
No, I would like to thank you on the job well done. You've done a lot of hard work.
Thank you. You're welcome.
All right, so we'll go ahead with the update on the health insurance plan. Ms. Stevens.
Certainly. Tonight we have David Rowe with us from Baker's Insurance. He's going to give us a mid-year health insurance review for the current plan year that we started in October. This is only mid-year claims, being that it started October 1. David?
Thank you, Marcia. Chairman Spalding, Vice Chair Rollins Fells, ladies and gentlemen of the board, Dr. Hellman, thanks for having me tonight. As Marcia said, I'm David Rowe, and I actually stood before you all 3 years ago when we talked about moving from our standalone self-funded plan to the local choice. So I'm going to give you a mid-year update if I may. Thank you, Lisa. In October of 2015, as I said, we moved from our standalone self-funded plan with Anthem. We were separate from our county, and we moved to the Commonwealth of Virginia's program called The Local Choice. Why did we do that? If you remember from 3 years ago, we were able to offer the employees better benefits for lower cost, and we also gave them a broader network of doctors and hospitals. As a refresher, in October of 2016, we received a 2.6% increase in our cost with the plan. In October of 2017, we received a 3% decrease in our rates from Anthem in the state. So through October of 2017, we were actually below our October 2015 cost structure. Then came October of 2018. I want to add some context here. We sit down with, my team sits down with Dr. Hellman, Dr. Parker before, Marcia Stevens, and we review these claims every single quarter so you all know how our plan is performing and what we can anticipate in terms of an increase for the next year. I was projecting, my actuary was projecting for our October of 2018, which we haven't even gotten to yet, we were anticipating a 29% increase. Through the Commonwealth of Virginia's plan, the state holds our reserves for us. I was able to secure $1.2 million from the Commonwealth that reduced our increase from a 29% increase to a 13.1% increase. Helpful, very helpful, but it was still a 13.1% increase that we had to manage. With 2 of the 4 quarters of data available now, our review period runs from December of 2017 through November 30 of 2018. This is data hot off the press with quarters through May of 2018. Unfortunately, I'm projecting now a 28.9% increase for October of 2019. So we need to make you all aware of that. Marcia was talking about expenditures behind payroll. I'm assuming this is either the number 2 or the number 3 expense for this division, as it is in all divisions. Your salaries are going to be the largest, obviously. Second is either going to be your health insurance plan or the Virginia retirement system. This kind of shows you graphically, this is 8 quarters of data that we're looking at. We're looking at loss ratios. This is no different than your checking account, right? When you get paid, you make a deposit, you make an entry into your check register. As our employees go to the doctor and the hospital, they're spending. We're writing checks against those deposits, against that premium payment. Loss ratio is nothing but your claims divided by your premium. And you can see for the last 5 quarters, we have been at 100% loss ratio or better. And our most recent quarter, we were about 135%, if I remember correctly. So our costs are exceeding what we're paying in premium. So that's why we're anticipating another increase. Lisa. And this shows you, when you look at this chart, the blue line represents our claims per employee per month, and the red represents the premium per employee per month. Look at the last 4 quarters. Our claims have exceeded our premium per quarter. That's not where we want to be, okay? So what's driving our cost? Large claimants drive our cost. We have employees in the division and spouses that are not well. They're using a lot of healthcare costs. I just put a sample on here of the largest claimants that we're seeing right now. We have an aortic aneurysm at $217,000. Psoriasis, and again, I know this gets everyone's attention. That's the primary diagnosis, but I'm sure there are underlying diagnoses that I didn't see. $209,000. Sepsis, $183,000. Encephalitis, $154,000. Cervical cancer at $120,000. Prostate cancer at $113,000. And a kidney disease at $112,000. To me, this next statistic is staggering. 4.5% of our members are our employees, their spouses, and their dependent children. 4.5% of our members drove 59.5% of our total claims costs. That's a lot. Okay? So I'm here telling you about this news. What can we do about it? We need to continue to educate our employees about the drivers of healthcare costs, about our claims costs, and how a healthy lifestyle impacts this. It's stunning to think this, but it's true. It's been proven over and over again. 50% of what ails us is related to lifestyle. What do? We eat too much, and we don't exercise enough, right? That's the driver of 50% of our nation's healthcare spend. The good news is we're only halfway through our review period. We still have 2 more quarters to right the ship, if you will. We offer in this program, for our employees, we offer the 2 richest programs, the 2 richest benefit programs, plus our high deductible plan. Dr. Parker wanted to keep the current plans in place this year. We did that. But we have some levers available in the plans that we offer our employees. We can move our richest plan down to the second plan and let that be our best program. We can move our second best plan down to either a $500 deductible plan or a $1,000 deductible plan. And then we can also continue to tweak how we fund employer dollars versus employee dollars. And one of the things we need to do when we talk about that is to make sure that our high deductible plan looks the most attractive. What questions do you have for me? After that wonderful news, what questions do you have for me?
Are nosocomial infections of what drives for sepsis?
Say that again, I'm
Are
sorry.
nosocomial infections one driving our sepsis problem?
All I get, Mr. Copeland, is the primary diagnosis, which was sepsis. I don't know the underlying cause of any of that. Because again, this is protected health information, it's PHI. So I'm trying to give you a very generic, cleansed look at, what our large claimants, what conditions drove those.
How is it going to be possible to right the ship in 2 months? If nobody goes to the doctor, nobody does this.
2 quarters, so 6 months. We're halfway through our review period. We've got 6 more months to hopefully help right the ship. Are we going to be able to write it down to a 0% increase? Probably not. But my job, like last year, is to make sure that I can get the most in help from the state to help us bring that increase down.
Because the things that you put on the board up here, that's not take a couple aspirins and I get well by Monday.
Those are all very expensive conditions.
Right. The only thing I know is it's going to tear up what's over the raise that our people got this year when this thing kicks in. I mean, this health plan is just out of sight. I mean, that's my personal opinion.
Chairman Spalding, it's not just in Carolina, it's everywhere. I mean, it's a national.
I mean, we can't help it if someone gets cancer of the prostate or liver or whatever, this sort of thing, that's why you have health insurance.
That's exactly right.
I mean, what are we going to do, kick those people out?
Absolutely not. That's why they have these plans.
Part of those issues, sir, were me asking about nosocomial infections because that's an infection caused by hospitals, and if it's infections secondary to them being there, then penalizing us for that is counterproductive and not warranted.
I understand.
I have a question. How would you go about educating our employees? Are you talking about holding workshops, forums? Because in order for me to go along with this, I would have to know that you're going to make sure that all, or at least 80% of the employees understand the movement to the different plans, because this is one of the big benefits for our employees.
Absolutely.
Insurance. And some of our employees might have more trouble understanding. So, I mean, I think you would have to hold at least 1 or 2 opportunities for them to hear all this information.
Absolutely.
Okay, thank you.
Absolutely. Any other questions for me? Thank you all very much.
Next, we have energy services for Caroline Middle School. Mr. Hunter.
Good evening, Chairman Spalding, Dr. Rollins-Feld, members of the board, Dr. Hellman. Since, I think back in June, I believe it was, you authorized us to proceed with achieve financing for the performance energy contract here at Caroline Middle School. That went before the Board of Supervisors at a subsequent meeting. They have gotten a report back from Davenport Company, which is my understanding is on their agenda to act on tomorrow night. Whether or not, where that's going to go, I'm not even going to speculate, but just the highlights of it are that we did get a reasonably good financing rate of 3.29% from a local bank. Actually, Union Bank was the bank that came through with the best rate. With the bank closing costs, which weren't that much, but defeated Davenport's charging, and the fact that the interest rate is what it is, they're projecting that the down payment is probably going to be closer to $100,000 than the $50,000 we had talked about previously. So I have no idea what the Board of Supervisors is going to do. Again, the genesis of this whole thing was to take advantage of the natural gas that's available. We have started some of that work. Columbia approached me about being able to put the lateral into this building, and we're taking steps to get that done, so the gas will be available. We've dismantled most of the propane farm in order to do that, but we do have sufficient propane to allow for the kitchen to operate as well as hot water heaters. So we're moving forward with that. On an aside to that, which has nothing to do with the performance energy contract, but I will tell you that both the high school and transportation are now burning natural gas. So we have moved since the joint meeting a couple weeks ago to get those things done. Well, yeah, I mean, it's all but there. There's a couple pieces for the heaters they need, but maybe other than that. The high school is definitely burning. Went in this morning, made sure the kitchen worked for the first day and everything, so we know we got that going. Oh, the meter. Okay. Yes, somebody put the wrong meter. Okay. I do remember that. I thought they'd already done that. Okay. Sorry.
Any other questions? If not, go ahead, Mr. Honan, with the update on the closeout of renovation at Madison.
Since we last met, had conversations with the county. They've approved the site work there at Madison. I have asked Randy Jones to write a letter to the contractor outlining what additional funds we're prepared to release to the contractor. So we need to get that worked out. If you remember, we deducted money for OWPR from what we owe the contractor. And we're also I'm trying to get some additional money for some additional roof repairs that need to be made that fell outside of the scope of the warranty. We have been able to acquire a warranty on that roof and have had a warranty contractor out several times to take care of the roof. So, but we are, like I said, hopefully, I was hoping to have all that done in time for this meeting, but it just seems like it takes forever to get everybody to agree to those things. So we're all but done. Any questions on that?
Thank you, Mr. Hunt. Next, we have kindergarten, first grade report card revisions from Dr. Jones.
Good evening, Chair Spalding, Vice Chair Dr. Rollins Fales, board members, and Dr. Hellman. Tonight I am presenting report card revisions for grades kindergarten and first grade. This concern became an agenda item at the April Teacher Advisory Committee. Therefore, on July 26, a committee of teachers representing all 3 elementary schools met to achieve the following: alignment with the new 2017 English Language Arts and Math Standards, to revise and use consistent language for grade coding to ensure effective communication to parents, to upload report cards in PowerSchool to eliminate the extensive time it requires to currently complete it, and to revise report cards to align with interim progress reports. In kindergarten and first grade, the changes are in black. They have been crossed out in red. And the coding is consistent from kindergarten to first grade. Are there any questions?
I have a couple. Okay. One is, why weren't the report cards already online, I guess is my first question.
Why aren't they already online?
Why weren't they already online?
I can't answer the question why they were not already online prior to me coming, but it has been a concern and it's been addressed.
Because they should have, that's not exactly right, that everybody else's were and theirs weren't.
Right.
Because that's a lot of work. And then second of all, what was the reasoning in removing the above, on, or below grade level? Do you know what that was?
Yes. Is this for first grade?
This
Okay.
is first grade, yes.
They just thought it was very misleading to parents to have a code for grades as well as a code for the on or above grade level. They thought it was actually confusing to have both codes there.
Okay. And then in math, the math part of it, where it says recognizes and writes, I believe that was on the second page.
Recognize and writes numerals to 1 to 10.
Recognizes a number and writing a number are two completely different things. So that child could recognize all the numbers 1 to 100 and not necessarily be able to write them, and would have, whatever the grade was for knowing all of them would be different from. I'm just asking, because those are two completely different things.
Well, with the adjustment with the new standard, students are expected to do both, so they combined it to make it, they thought to make it seamlessly easier to achieve that goal, because with the new standards, they have to do both.
Okay, that was one.
So rather than having two separate items, they made it one.
Okay, all right, thank you.
Any other questions?
On the kindergarten one, I have something.
Okay.
On the kindergarten report card, I guess my other question is on that one, combining and identifying names of capital and lowercase. Is that another one that's been changed?
Yes.
Okay, that was another one. Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Any other questions?
Yes, when it says omit spelling, are you taking spelling out? If so, why? On first grade?
Because it does not list it as a separate goal for students to achieve in the new standards, that it is built into other standards. It doesn't mean that they won't have spelling at all, but it's just built in and not to necessarily always be done in isolation. Any other questions?
I have a quick one, because most of this is coming from the state, is that correct?
Most of them are coming, we align the report cards to better meet the new standards. So it's not that the state is saying change your report card, but our report card should align with our new standards.
Because that's what we're teaching.
Yes,
Okay.
exactly.
So my question is, because I'm looking at it, looks like the move at the elementary level, well, I wouldn't say it's a move, it has moved, is to content mastery more than it is just the traditional grading scale. And which I'm a big fan of, because I think that's why we go into the profession, is to get the kids, the students, to master the content. Is this something that we could foresee happening at the middle and high school level?
This is definitely something that we can discuss and move forward on. And actually, the language and the coding is actually what's in the policy. That's already in our Caroline policy.
I would just like to see it at the secondary level better, because, sometimes you get kids who come in and they know a lot of stuff for whatever background reason, and it's just better if they exceed, if you get this list that they excel and demonstrate mastery early on and gauge them that way and then base stuff around them, as opposed to just give them like a C because they're not working that hard, because they're just bored in the classrooms there and know everything. I hope that makes sense.
As we move to implement the profile of a graduate, we have rubrics that will help gauge measuring students by mastery rather than just a single grade and a single moment. Also, as we move more towards performance-based assessments, it will allow our students to progress on a scale versus a one and done grade.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Wait a minute. Ms. Harris, deputy thinking now. The spelling, you said they do it in the other subjects and so forth and all. I'd love to go in and see a class where they incorporate spelling in with whatever they're doing, science, English, whatever that may be. But if you get to the point where as long as I can text LOL and you and so forth, that's all I have to do, because that's where we're going.
Well, with our writing program, of course, vocabulary and spelling is embedded into our units of study, as well as our Words Their Way program, in which students are using words on a continuous basis. Rather than just spelling them, they're using them in sentences and in their writing.
What if they misspell
Then teachers will still address that. In other words, students will still learn to spell, but it just won't be in a weekly spelling
I know what
test.
you're saying, but, like I said, spelling is going out the door, because you can talk all you want, but it's a thing of the past.
If you would allow me to provide you with additional insight, we use word study as our primary mode of instruction for spelling. This is a phonics and phonemic awareness program. It teaches students features of words, which allows them to master the feature and then apply it in context in writing and reading. And so it is a very different model from how we learn to spell. Mr. Spalding, I heard you say that you'd like to see spelling associated with science words and history words. And while it is important to have that vocabulary in context, spelling research documents that word study with Words Their Way is the most beneficial and advantageous for students in this day and time.
I'd still like to see it.
I was going to say, if you're not familiar with Words Their Way, it's a difficult concept. But if this example helps, in math we talk about, your numerical literacy, understanding the concepts and not the tricks, but really understanding why. And the same thing
That's the whole point. It's not important to be able to spell correctly anymore.
Well, that may be true in some households, but we know that in order to be workplace ready, you cannot fill out an application with shorthand. And I think that's a whole thing, which is one of the components of Words Their Way that I do like, that they're sorting, and it's not simply, coloring or doing word searches or writing your words 50 times, although that did work for me. So maybe at a different time we can come back and show what that program looks like and the methodology behind it.
And they do still have spelling tests with Words Their Way. I mean, it might just be 5 words a week, but they do still, in kindergarten and in first and in second, they still do that, I promise. I'm in kindergarten classes, so I see it.
And it's not like I've ever said, it's just more application of the words versus just learning to spell the word and just using it in isolation.
I understand every bit of it. That's not the point. I know we have to understand what we're doing, what the word means, but to be able to spell it correctly, to me, is just as important. That's not.
Okay. All right.
Thank you.
We will take that back to the drawing board. Thank you, Dr. Spalding.
Board comments. Ms. Harris?
I'm surprised when I say something. All right, the first thing is, I would like for us, because November is the legislative, bring your legislative to work. So I would like for us to get on board and invite our legislators now, so that they can at the last minute say, oh, we can't come, we have another engagement. So if we invite them now, they'll be here for November. Bring our legislators. And October is bully-free month, it's bullying awareness. So we need to be on top of that one also, because of complaints. And that's it. And I went to the high school for the open house, and I was a little disappointed in some of the classrooms. I know the custodians did a super great job, but somebody fell a little short with the carpet clean in some classrooms in the walls. And Mr. Holden, I'll talk to you about that. Thank you, that's all I have.
I'm gonna have a few brief comments. Just welcome again to Dr. Hellman. I wanted to say thank you to Kevin James before he left out, just to recognize our community partners. They are always there when our students need them. National Night Out is a success. I did see the Parent Resource Center did have a table, so I specifically wanted to acknowledge that group and encourage each of you in your schools to, invite your parents to go by and not wait until their child is failing to get some support. And I was at the Caroline's Promise Community Day, where we'd like to thank Principal Wigg for allowing that event to be hosted at the high school. There were over 10,000 school supplies that were handed out to children throughout this county. We actually ran out and had to end the event early. But if in your schools you run into anyone who still needs backpacks or pencils or whatever, you can direct them to the Caroline's Promise office, which is in Main Street on Bowling Green. And we're helping new families. We've had a couple that come in and have just moved into the county. So that's a resource that's available that I just wanted to let everybody know about. Thank you.
I have a couple of comments. It was a beautiful day to start the year, and I hope our year goes as wonderfully as it sounded like today. I know at the elementary levels, it's always a late starting because it's getting everybody, making sure they're on the right, getting everybody on the right bus and nobody left crying. And Mr. Satterwhite, I'll talk with you about a bus thing before I go home. I would like whoever's in charge of the art department at the high school, and maybe Dr. Monroe, you can pass this along, to enter a video for the VSBA for the art. It's a little blurb, whatever. I don't know what the theme is for this year. We didn't have any entry last year. The year before was our first entry, and we got honorable mention, so it was a wonderful way to start. I don't know what the title is, but it's for the VSBA.
Yes, ma'am. I've already sent them an email. We're supposed to have it ready by September 6th, because that's the night of our CTE and our digital open house.
Okay,
So the memo has been sent.
Okay, thank you so much. I also have one other comment. I have an issue with scheduling this year at one of the schools. Not sure if it happened at any others. Students turned their schedules in early in May, if not before, and schedules were sent out to students close to open house. The night before open house at this particular school, 90-some students were contacted by the principal. 61 of them that signed up got the class. The other 91 or 2 did not. And I think that was a little late in the year to be notified. These students were not given opportunities to pick another class or choose. They were chosen for them. There was ample time to allow for choices and changes. All students should have this opportunity. I was very disappointed, and this is not it's unacceptable and should not happen again. And I hope we have sufficient guidance counselors to take care of this issue so it doesn't happen again. That's all.
I'd like to thank everybody for what looks like a very successful first day of school. You know, we don't have a whole lot left, so let's take advantage of the time that we have. I'd like to thank Rice Chapel for the blessings of the backpacks that they did yesterday, which was great to see. All the kids showed up and get their backpacks blessed. And I'd also like to thank the YMCA for the Bright Beginnings program that help ensure that our kids get the school supplies that they need. I thought that was great that they did that, and that was very, there was a lot of kids there too, and parents who needed it. That's all. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Now we'll have comments from our head superintendent.
Thank you, Mr. Spalding, Dr. Rollins Fells, members of the board. I will try to just succinctly summarize a few activities that I have seen and was impressed with and thought that I would just put them into the record. On the 17th of July, Mr. Spalding, Ms. Harris, and I had the opportunity to go to Richmond for the VSBA meeting that they hold annually in July. And while we were there, Caroline County took home first prize in the Healthy School Meals category for those divisions with a population below 10,000. So Caroline County was #1 in the state for healthy school meals. So congratulations to Mr. Connor and all of the food service workers for their efforts. I too was trying to attend the National Night Out on August 7th. Unfortunately, I was timing, just missed it, and when I showed up, everybody was gone. So I'm glad you were able to be there, Dr. Rollins Fells, to represent us, because I had intended to do so. I noted that on July 24th, there was a Eagle Camp. That was Ms. Foster providing with her teachers a transition type of environment for the rising, I think 9th graders, rising 6th graders to the middle school. So that was an event. The other event that I just wanted to make sure everybody was aware of, and I'm sure you are, on the 19th of July, the local paper from Fredericksburg picked up on the anti-bullying by the bus drivers, and the headline read, "Caroline bus drivers to lead new bullying prevention program in county schools." So that was a wonderful bit of publicity for the school division, and Mr. Satterwhite and his drivers, I think, are going to be explaining more of this in upcoming meetings. Regarding the opening of school, I had the opportunity to attend the open houses, also attended all of the schools this morning, and as far as the opening process went, I can't think of when I've seen a more smooth opening. Were there hiccups? I'm sure there were. I haven't heard of them yet. But I think staff, all staff, instructional staff, teachers, principals, assistant principals, support staff, technology, custodians, maintenance men, the folks that are back in the SBO office that are not directly involved in classrooms, each and every one of them had a part and a role to play in today's opening, and I thank them.
Thank you, Dr. Rollins. Next, we move to closed session. Do I hear a motion to discuss the personnel appointments, resignation, reappointments, resignation session, position changes, corrections, stipends for teaching extra classes, request for family medical leave, request for leave of absence, and a list of stipends for authorized by Section 2.2-3711A1 of the Code of Virginia 1950 as amended.
So moved.
And second. Call for the vote. We will now move to closed session.